when it's dark and it's cold and no one else is around, one thing I have always done is I've always continued to move forward. The vision was clear. I might not have had the results right here, right now, but the vision was clear about where I was going. My name is Oliver Fernandez, and welcome to the Imperfect Entrepreneur. Super excited to be here with you today. Had a great weekend with my wife, my in-laws, and my son and daughter. My son, he finally had his first sleep through of the night since he was born. And my daughter had an amazing time at my in-laws' house, swimming in their pool, probably for the last time because they're getting ready to sell their house and move to Florida. So these last 8 months, 10 months have been crazy in the business. We have a subsidiary, Portsmouth Quality Flooring, that's just blowing up. We're bringing on new team members, onboarding. There's just been so much activity going on with that business. Then the GC business, we've had quite a few projects that we already had on the books that we were executing on. And, things have been crazy with those projects. Things that I've never dealt with in 10 years, all of a sudden I was dealing with. I was having design issues. I was having construction issues. Just craziness. Contractors that were walking off jobs. Things that I've never dreamed of actually experiencing, I was now experiencing and going through the pain of that. And on top of that, our revenue was low. The prospects of jobs that we had, we were putting out a bunch of bids, but no one was getting back to us. No one was responding to us. So I was like, what is going on with this business? And I was starting to get a little frustrated. It had been almost 10 months to a year. We were staying, consistent with all this stuff, putting out a bunch of bids, and we still weren't getting any contacts back. And, honestly, my attention was starting to get diverted to solving all the problems in the business, because they were big league problems. They were problems that, honestly, I'm still building out the team to be able to execute on. And they've never done it. I've never done it. So they needed the example and the guidance of how to get through it. So it pulled me back into the weeds a little bit. And one of my saving graces is that prior to this year, we built out a part of the business where we were going to build out a pre-construction side of the business that went after all new projects. And we hired a full-time person to manage this process, because it's intensive, especially when you're getting pulled back into existing projects and execution of projects. I mean, staying consistent on the new projects and the pre-construction projects can oftentimes go to the wayside. You get distracted with execution versus continuing to find new clients, and that's what was happening for us. So we said enough is enough. I'm tired of saying I want to get to $100 million and staying stuck at 10 million. And we made the commitment and hired a pre-construction person, and that pre-construction person has done an amazing job of building out our pipeline of deals. And that pipeline had been really slow. I was like, man, what's going on? Why aren't we getting any of these jobs? We're putting together competitive bids. We're putting together, pricing that makes sense in a lot of ways for a lot of people. And we just weren't getting any callbacks. And it wasn't until we last week that we got the first callback, and it literally feels like an avalanche as just falling on us, because we got the second one, and we got the third one, we got the fourth one, and we got the fifth one. We basically signed up $7 million worth of business in 3 days. And then on top of that, we had another client that has another $4.2 million job for us that said that they're working on getting funding for that. And it was just like, oh my God, man. It's so easy in the moment to say, you know what, I'm not gonna keep moving forward. I'm gonna quit. I'm going to, this new pre-construction and building out the pipeline isn't worth it. It isn't worth it in the moment, because I haven't given it enough time to actually, for the seed to grow. And when you give it enough time for the seed to grow, then it becomes worth it. It's like when a farmer goes out and plants a crop of corn, right? He doesn't plant that crop of corn and then the next day or the next week or the next month expect full grown corn stalks to be there. No, he's watering it. What have I been doing? I've been having one-on-one meetings with my team member. I've been, doing everything that I can do to honestly keep her in the game as well, because, it's always a good feeling when you're starting to win jobs, right? But when you haven't gotten feedback in a while, it's like, man, what's going on? Are my numbers bad? Is my process bad? Are the proposals not good? You start second guessing yourself. And that can be good in one way, because you never want to think you're perfect, but at the same time, you want to get some feedback. And we hadn't gotten feedback in a year, and now all of a sudden these jobs are starting to pop. And it feels good, it feels great, because you know that the process and the things that you built out are actually working. And then all of a sudden your confidence goes even higher, right? Your confidence goes even higher. Why does your confidence go higher? Because now all of a sudden you're getting the result that you put your intention on. You stayed consistent with it, right? Because there were so many times where, honestly, if we didn't have her on the team, there's absolutely no way we would have stayed consistent on it. But because we had her on the team and that was her sole focus, is to focus on that stuff, we were able to stay consistent on it. And then staying persistent, like not blowing the thing up because we weren't getting results immediately. Like staying persistent even though we were getting so much aggravation through some of our existing jobs that it was like, oh my God, is this really what it's supposed to be? But like, no, of course it's not what it's supposed to be. Like sometimes you're gonna have challenges. Anytime you're running up a hill, it's never always gonna be easy. Like when I ran my marathon, I was on the last 6 miles of a 28 or 26.1 mile run, or 26.2 mile run. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like my body started to seize up. Like I thought my intention was good. I wanted to finish that race. But my body was like, dude, I don't know if you're going to finish this race. And I was just like, man, I'm just going to keep showing up one step after the next. And like the same thing was happening in that pre-bid process. Like we were struggling. Like we didn't get any results, It's like, man, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden it just pops. It just falls on you. And it's just like, man, it just reinforces, man, stay after it. Don't give in. Don't give in. You don't know when that opportunity is going to come. But if you stay consistent, if you stay persistent, and you keep putting it in the energy and effort, your time is going to come. You're going to continue to sharpen your skills. Throughout that whole process, we were sharpening our skills. We were putting together better proposals. We were just making everything better. We weren't getting actual results, but we were taking the actions. We were taking the steps. And so thankful that we did, man. I'm so thankful that we continued to push forward and build that process out. And honestly, that process wasn't even my idea. I learned that idea from a Cardone Ventures event, and I was sitting next to a contractor, and he was telling me about his process. And that was his process. He had a person that was solely focusing on putting out bids, right? And it sounds so like intuitive now, but it's like, duh, Oliver, like previously me and another team member were putting together bids. And then previously, I would get sucked off into, execution of projects. And obviously when you're executing on projects, it's so hard to focus on what's going on right here, right now. And if you're not focused on what's going on right here, right now from a proposal standpoint, you're going to get crushed because you're not going to be putting out proposals anymore. You're going to get distracted in working on execution of what's the jobs you already have, which honestly needs to get done. And we're building out the team that can execute at that high level, right? Because that needs a high level of execution. There's a lot of things at risk here. There's bonds at risk. There's real finances that are at risk. So you can't just hand the execution of these jobs over And at the same time, you can't just hand over the pre-bid proposal process over, because you're putting together numbers, and if the numbers are bad, then the whole job is bad. It's kind of like in real estate. You make your money on the buy side. You make your money on the proposal side when you're submitting the proposal. If you've compressed all of your numbers, then why would you expect your guys in the field to be able to eke out a profit? There's so many unknowns, there's so many uncertainties that are in the field, and you're creating an uphill battle from day one. And the guys in the field, they can execute at a high level, but at the same time, you want to have dedicated people that can focus on the end outcomes that you're looking for. And I'm so grateful that we built out that pre-proposal team to start focusing on the end outcomes, basically the front end of our business. And as you continue to build out the front end, it then gives you the ability to then build out the back end. Because now, having $7 to $12 million on the board, we now have the resources to go and build that team. It's not like, oh, now Oliver's going to be able to, make more money himself. No, I cannot wait to build out the whole team with these resources that we're going to get. Building out the execution side even better. So it's like there's people that are high level, that are high performance people that are executing at high intensity to make this whole thing come together. And then we're going to continue to build out the proposal team. Like now we got to keep feeding the animal, right? We got to feed the beast, and we got to keep doubling down on what we've already built and continuing to put out more proposals and bigger proposals and more complicated proposals. Because the more complicated the proposal is, the less the competition that we're seeing. And I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about continuing to stay consistent with this work, continuing to make that $100 million vision a reality, one step at a time. And I want to see you do the same thing. So continue to go out there and build your legacy, because I know I'm going to continue to go out there and push and make things happen. And I want to see you do the same thing too. Have a great day.